Well, I am live. I said I would go live at 4 o'clock today. So I'm going to wait officially until it's 4 o'clock and then begin speaking. I am hoping that as many people as possible join the live so that I only have to say this once. And then after the live, I will be making a formal post on the dog page. And I'm just going to sit tight here. I do have a pretty significant announcement to make here. I am waiting to see how many people join the live. Hi, Karen. I'm going to wait another couple of minutes and see how many people join. If not, they will be able to go back and watch the live. So, it's been a really tough day here. Really tough day here. Just when you think things can't get any worse, they did. And I will start this live by telling you that my asthma actually has been not too bad. Hi, Leona. Hi, Scott. Hi, Karen. My asthma, compared to what it has been over the last couple of years, lately has been pretty darn good. A year ago, it was downright awful. But today's live is not something that I planned. Last night, I fell asleep pretty early and was awakened at 5:45 this morning with Eric Clapton's song, Tears in Heaven, pounding in my ears. And it startled me, and I woke right up, and I sat upright, and this song by Eric Clapton was playing in my head so loud, 5:45, and I couldn't figure out why that Tears in Heaven was playing. And I wound up talking to Scott and Leona first thing over a cup of coffee. We were looking forward to November. Faith and Lily and Rain are going to come back into heat. The plan was to breed them to Patton, and that would keep the lines very strong here. While I was on the phone with Scott, Chris was turning dogs out. He had fed everybody at 5:30, let them rest or whatever, and then he was going to go back out and turn all the dogs out. He turned Bruno and Faith out, and they were fine. He turned Patton out into the outside turnout. I think it's like 20 feet around. It's 2 Tractor Supply kennels with a tarp thing, and he gets to lay on thick horse mats with shavings on them. And he then proceeded to clean up the garage and do some things and kind of puttering around. And when he went back out to see Patton, Patton had fallen asleep and not woken up. And he came in and he said, "Helen, Patton just died." I thought I was hearing things. I looked at Scott on the phone. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I stood up, I sat down, I stood up, I sat down, I didn't know where to run. Patton Del Fracasso is the son of Cosimo, who's known all over Europe. Patton is the only American son of Cosimo. I'm sorry. His son, as many of you know, is Moses, who lives with Glenn and Cindy Miller. And Glenn is like a 21-year veteran, military veteran. And they love Moses so much, and they've been so proud that Moses is Patton's son. And then Patton has two other daughters, Gucci and Armani, who reside with Eddie and Noelle Bonacorsi. And these dogs are part of the families, and they represent Patton so well. And I just need to tell you, Patton was born November 20th, 2018. And he came in, flew into Boston from Rome. And Chris and Scott Bryant went down to get him. And he came home here. And at the time, my grandchildren were all here. And that little guy was it was the nicest dog in the world around my grandchildren. You know, I spoiled my grandkids rotten. My granddaughter Avery would yell and throw things, and she was a typical toddler. But Patton took it all in stride. I can honestly say in his life, he never looked sideways at a child or ever growled at a child. He would let them put funny hats on him and big sunglasses and put scarves on him and hats on him. And that huge dog, he grew into such a huge dog. And Scott's grandchildren and my grandchildren, they could sit down on the floor and play with him. And he never took a step out of turn. And then when Kiana came home, Kiana came in the door. Scott and Chris went down to Logan Airport and brought Kiana home. And when Kiana came through that door, Patton looked at her and he knew. He just knew. He walked over and he smelled her whole face. And he knew she was from home. And a lot of you that know me know that they had a love story. Patton and Kiana, they just go together. But that big dog hated to be inside. He wanted to be outside even when it was snowing, this crazy dog. He was really, him and Gage were like the mascot of Bella Vista English Mastiffs. And people all over the world know Patton's name as the only American son to Cosimo Del Fracasso here in the United States. And he didn't disappoint. He was such a good boy. He was easy to train. He was easy going. He just took life in stride. He loved my grandchildren and Scott's grandchildren, and he never took a step out of turn. And for anybody that can look at the Mastiff and say, my God, they look so ferocious, you have misunderstood them. They are the kindest, most fair-tempered dog on the planet. And they love children and they love families. And every person that has a pup from us can tell you that integrity around families and children. It's just the truth. And there was we didn't see this coming. The Mastiff lives somewhere between 7 and 10 years. I can't tell you why, it just is. Nutrition and genetics have a lot to do with how long they live. And I'm not going to sit here and surmise why this happened. we are getting an outpouring of love from all the people that have pups out of him. I'm sorry. This comes as such a shock upon everything else that's going on in our lives. I want to make a mention of Dunbar and Sons Construction Company in Littleton, Maine. Bill Dunbar started the company many, many years ago, and now it is called Dunbar and Sons. And even though they had something with the family going on, when Chris called Bill and told him that Patton had passed, Bill stopped what he was doing and he came out with his truck and a big backhoe, and he picked Patton up gently and he took him down the back of the farm, and Patton now resides in a grave right beside Gage. And he dug a 5-foot long, 4-foot wide grave that's about 4 feet deep. And it is right beside Gage, looking over the pasture where we are supposed to build. And now I have my 2 big boys looking over the pasture. And Patton deserves the respect of being buried next to Gage and having the continue on their job to look over the family. And so, with the help of Kim, our neighbor, we're going to go and trim up all the grass tomorrow. And I will do the same thing for Patton that I did for Gage. We will put down a tarp over the dirt. We will dump as many bags of white crushed marble as I can afford. And Kim and I will trim it out in white rock. And then I will pull solar lights from all my plants up here. And we will put the solar lights around Patton's grave. You may remember that we have a bench down there now and a bird bath. And St. Francis's statue is there between them. And there'll be a bench down back. And I am sorry. I'm in shock that he's gone. We're going to go tomorrow out back. Kim, my neighbor, she's amazing. She brought me I don't know what it's called, a plant that can be broken up to be planted around them. There's a lily plant there. There's a beautiful stone bird bath and a bench. And tomorrow we will go and I want to mention that Scott and Leona Bryant are having the same headstone done for Patton. Thank you, Jen. Scott and Leona already ordered the same headstone that they ordered for Gage. And it will have Patton's picture on it. Jeez. People say, man, they're just dogs. Life in northern Maine is hard. The winters are so long and so hard. And you know what? This breed makes it a whole lot better. And when I had cancer a couple of times, these dogs were right beside me when I came home from my treatments. And they would keep me warm while my bones were aching. And when my grandbabies were born, they were so gentle. Even as far as Rory, never even looked at my grandkids wrong. So I want to thank every single person that has pups, from Patton and Gage. That is the legacy to Bella Vista English Mastiff. Antonio Fracassi, he trusted me when he put his bloodline in my hand. And he said, I'm not going to do this forever, Helen. Take my bloodline and run with it. And we tried to do that. And so, as a result, we have beautiful foundation dogs here. And through Lily and Rain, Gage and Patton live on. And I want to make you understand that Lily is Gage's daughter with Serafina Del Fracasso, and Franca is her mother, and Rain is Gage's daughter with Serena, Patton's daughter. So the legacy doesn't end here. If you just stay with me, the legacy doesn't end. I need people to not give up, to not give up. Chris and I and our team, we are giving it all we've got to get pups on the ground in November. We know how important this breed is to people everywhere. And starting with the best genetics and the best temperament is important, because we have pups in the home of military members and very important people in the government. I'm not going to rattle off all the government officials that have our dogs, but I will tell you that I don't need to repeat all that. November is going to come. We are going to be breeding Lily, Rain, and Faith to Bruno. Now, when you look at Bruno, you can see he has a beautiful build, and he is so perfect, and he has an amazing temperament. And that's the plan for November. But today is about Patton, and so we're not going to talk about November. Just remember Patton. Remember how beautiful he was, and how he lives on, and his sons and his daughters, and how he never in his whole life disappointed me. He was a great puppy. He was easy to train. He was so good with my small grandchildren. And there's pictures of him and my grandbabies with them laying with their head on his chest. Him engaged side by side. Well, Chris and I have some decisions to make about whether or not we're going to stay here in light of everything that recently happened in our family. But should we decide to stay, should we decide to stay, we would be building down back. And now Gage and Patton are buried side by side, looking over the pasture. And so Dunbar and Son Constructions came on a Sunday and did the most gentle lift of Patton. They dug a beautiful hole, and they laid him to rest next to Gage. Tomorrow morning, my friend Kim and I are going to put a tarp over the dirt. We're going to put white crushed marble like we did for Gage. We're going to find white rocks, and we're going to trim it out. And then I'm going to put solar lights around it. And I don't know what the future holds. Hi, Renee. Thank you. Well, anyway, it's Sunday. I don't want to keep everybody. I am going to put a memorial picture of Patton on the page. And I'm getting a lot of calls and texts. Yeah. You know, I just can't believe it. I just can't believe it. And I don't know if maybe Gage wanted me to know at 5:45 this morning, Eric Clapton's song, Tears in Heaven, I woke up to it blaring in my ears, and I haven't been able to shake it all day. I woke up at 5:45. It was so loud in my ears, Tears in Heaven, that I went to YouTube and I took the song and I put it on my private Facebook. And I listened to it and bawled my eyes out, and I did not know that Patton was going to pass. Now I realize probably Gage wanted me to know. And, yeah, so Patton and Gage are together again with Serena, Patton's daughter. With everything else that recently happened, it is taking every bit of strength I have, honestly, to keep it together. Well, I wanted to come and tell you directly that Patton has passed. Take a minute to maybe pray for him. And I will tell you that the people that have pups out of him are taking this awful hard. And they're hugging their babies a little extra hard tonight. Moses lives on. Moses got enough of Sophie in him, thank God, to break it up. And Moses is an amazing example that when a breeder breeds, they should look to breed better than the parents. And although Patton was excellent and Sophie was excellent and Gage was excellent, every one of their offspring are even better than them. And that's my goal. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this video. I'll be here. Tomorrow is going to be a hard day because I got to go source white crushed marble. And Kim and I are going to cut all the grass up there on the hill and trim the grave with some white rocks and give this dog the same respect that Gage. Patton deserves that respect. His sons and daughters are making military people happy. You know what that means to me? The fact that Moses is taking care of a military member. Glenn gave his world to this country, and now he gets to enjoy Patton's son. So Moses, you listen to me. Your father was a really, really good dog. And your job is to just take over for him. Love your dogs hard because they don't live forever. And I don't know what else to say. I thought losing Gage was going to kill me. But I know that he's with me every day. This breed just loves so hard. I know that if I could talk to my grandbabies, Anthony and Avery, and I told them that Gage and Patton were gone, they would be heartbroken because their whole childhood has so many fun memories with them. These big, goofy, giant dogs. And although it hurts today to part with Patton, I know he's in a better place. And someday I will walk with them through a field. Gage on one side and Patton on the other. And we'll all be together again. say a prayer for our family. Those of you that know me, we really need prayer right now. We really need prayer right now. I'm not going to talk about November, but Bruno would be who we would use. And I can't make any promises, but they would be some really beautiful puppies. But I really can't even think about puppies right now. Tomorrow, we get to formally lay Patton to rest. Thank God for Dunbar and Sons Construction Company here in Littleton. They came out during a family event, and Bill himself, the owner of the company, felt so bad that it was Patton. Everybody around here knows my dogs, and he gently lifted him, and he brought him down back and laid him by Gage, and he dug that beautiful spot, asking me, are you sure? This angle, that angle. And he hit ledge. My God, he hit ledge. And he just kept digging and digging through the ledge. So, it's going to take some time to heal. I still would have had them. Even if I knew this is how it would all play out, there was so many years of good memories. And their sons and daughters make people happy. And Antonio is proud in Italy. And everybody in Europe looked to see what we were going to do next. And they are very impressed with Patton's sons and daughters. We do send them pictures. Chris talks to those people more than I do, just because he speaks Italian and, well, I don't. So I had to call the sons and daughters, of Patton's family first. And so I worked my way down the list. Wanted to make sure they heard it from me. And there's just no reason, it just happened. But anyway, I will take a picture of back there. And if that's too much for anyone and they think whatever, then you never really loved a pet and lost them. And I know there's other families going through this too, and we are here for you. Today is about Patton, so I will be closing this video and putting it on YouTube, and I will post the memorial picture of Patton that Elizabeth did, and that is what Scott is putting on his headstone that matches Gage's stone. And tomorrow, Chris and Kim and I are going to go down back and do what we got to do. If you have any questions, you can call me, 207-694-1200. I don't know. We just got to move forward, and it's going to take a while on this one. But, well, all right. Thank you so much for joining me, and we're here. Thank you. Have a good day.